Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Very Connected support group. And this is our March support group. And so excited to have you guys here. Today, we're being joined by Jane Guo, who is a wonderful dietitian. And we were catching up, and I'm sorry, it took us just a few minutes to get started with this, but we have lots of great things to share. And I'm super excited about this specific topic that we're going to be talking on today. We're going to be talking about how to set up systems in your lifestyle, in your daily, in your like built when you're building habits and that type of thing. Because what happens is a lot of times we go through life and we try to start doing something, but it seems to easily fall off. So Jane has that's one of her specialties is helping to teach people how to make things stick and how to really incorporate it into your daily lifestyle. And I'm actually going to allow you to kind of like talk about what got you into this bariatric field, a little bit about what you do right now, and all of that. And basically, kind of like your bio, like tell us all about you. And while you're doing that, I'm going to actually jump onto our Facebook page and just say hello there too as well. So I'll mute myself for just.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brenda, for having me on here. I'm so excited to spend my Thursday evening with everybody. Well, it's evening for me over on the East Coast. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. That's my home. I'm curious to know where everybody's from. Can everyone type in the chat where you're based? Want to see who we all got. Texas. Okay. I used to live in Texas of a year ago. I just moved to Georgia. Love Texas. Tennessee, Illinois, more Texas, Nebraska, Virginia. All right. Well, hello, everybody. We're from all across the country. That's amazing. Well, thank you for spending your Thursday evening slash afternoon with me. I'm so excited to talk to you about setting setting your habits and setting your goals, and specifically setting up systems to help you succeed in reaching those goals. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, are we good with the screen? Can everyone see?
Looks great. It looks wonderful. Now,
Amazing.
some of these people might be listening. Our support groups are recorded and they're placed onto our podcast. So some of these things might be. Some people might be listening to the replay on a podcast. So if you are, no worries, guys. We're going to be talking through the same things that are on the slides that she's showing as well.
Yes, and I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for that. All right, so beyond goals, we're setting up systems for lasting weight loss. And the key words here is lasting weight loss. We do not want to be weight cycling and diet cycling. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Before I get into it, let me introduce myself. A little bit about me. My name is Jane Guo. I'm a registered dietitian. I work with people for weight loss and bariatrics. I own Habits Nutrition Counseling, which is a virtual telehealth nutrition practice where I help people lose weight for good. And that's another key word is losing weight for good, long term. So I help people get off of that diet cycling, that weight cycling, and really the only way to do that is to implement healthy lifestyle habits. There are unfortunately no shortcuts. If there were shortcuts, trust me, I would be telling you guys those shortcuts. But today I'm going to share with you some habit change tips today, and these are all rooted in behavior science. So let's get started. Let's first define what a goal is versus what a system is. Goals are the outcome that you want. It's the direction that you want to go in. So, for example, if I said I want to lose X amount of pounds or I want to eat healthier, those are goals. Or if I want to drink more water, that's a goal. If I want to be more active, that's a goal. They're not the best written goals, and we'll talk about how to write SMART goals in a little bit, but that's what a goal is. Now, systems, on the other hand, those are the plans that you put in place to reach those goals. Systems help you make progress towards your goals. Now, I just mentioned SMART goals earlier. So, SMART goals is a framework for goal setting. This is step number one in setting goals is to create a SMART goal. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So, this is a framework we want to use when we are writing these goals. So, let's take some of these generic goals over here and turn them into a SMART goal. If my goal is to drink more water, my SMART goal could be drink 2 liters of water every day. So that's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant if it's relevant to you. If you're already someone who drinks enough water already, then this might not be a relevant goal to you. But also, it's time bound, so we want to put a time parameter to it. Let's say you want to improve your sleep. Well, the smart way to phrase that goal is get at least 8 hours of sleep each night on weeknights and go to bed at 10 p.m. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, relevant, and time bound. What if you want to eat more protein? How much protein do you want to eat? Let's say 100 grams. Hit at least 100 grams of protein every day for the next 2 weeks. That would be a SMART goal. What if you want to walk more? You can say walk for 30 minutes, 3 days out of the week for the next month. So notice how all of these are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Now,
Hey, Jane.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead with what you're saying. I was going to ask something when you get done there.
okay. Well, I was about to go into the next slide. So actually go ahead and ask your question, Brenda.
Yeah. So, like when we're looking at these, um, I think this is very helpful because it kind of leads you into like creating that lifestyle habit of whatever it is. So, like, let's say, can you give us an example of each of these? So, for me, like I know, I can say for me, like drinking more water would be filling up my water cup or whatever in the beginning of the morning and knowing by maybe noon I'm going to have so much drank out of it. Improving my sleep. For me, I knew whenever I started working out in the mornings, I needed to get sleep. So I would have a reminder that was set on my phone. It's actually part of your health app if you have smartphone, and basically sends me like a little timer noise that reminds me to go to bed so that I get up at a certain time. And eating protein, like how are you like either meal prepping or designing your meals to be able to meet those goals, and walking more, what does that look like? Like what days are you going to walk? Those kind of things. So would you say, like when you're talking about SMART goals, is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Absolutely. Uh, you see how the generic goals, it doesn't really, you can't really measure it. It's not really specific. I could say drink more water, but if I'm trying to accomplish that goal, okay, drink more water. Well, how much water is that? When am I going to drink more water? Where am I going to be drinking water? Am I at work drinking water? Am I at home drinking water? It doesn't really specify any of that. The more specific you get with your goal, the easier it is for you to envision yourself doing that goal, and therefore the easier you'll be able to achieve that goal. Now that brings me into my next point is that most people make the mistake of stopping here after they've made the SMART goal. But you're with me on a Thursday evening, or you're listening to this on the podcast later or the recording later. So you're not going to make this mistake. You are going to turn your SMART goals into systems. A system is simply a plan to achieve that goal. So let's take these SMART goals that we just created and set a plan for achieving these goals. So let's say we want to drink 2 liters of water every day. Well, that system could be exactly what you talked about earlier, Brenda, keeping a reusable water bottle with you at all times. And that the fact that it's sitting next to you, that's your system of reminding you to drink water. If you're someone uh, who reminders on your phone, if that works for you, then maybe you can set reminders on your phone to remind you to drink water. For me, that doesn't work because I get so annoyed with my phone beeping at me all the time to remind me of things. So that wouldn't be a system for me. Uh, the two things I want you to remember about systems, and this is in the top right-hand corner of this slide here, is number one, systems should be unique to you. So a system that works for another person might not work for you, and vice versa. Something that works for you might not work for another person. And the second thing I want you to remember about systems is that the best systems are made of teeny tiny actions. So the smaller actions you can break down your system into, mo the easier it is to stick to that system and achieve your goal. So let's keep going with these examples. Let's say your goal is to get at least 8 hours of sleep each night on weeknights and go to bed at 10 p.m. Well, your system could be no screens after 9, or as in Brenda's example, she sets the alarm in her health app, which I do that too. I find it sometimes helpful and other times I ignore it. Um, Another way you can set up a system to go to sleep every night on time is to develop a wind down routine. So write out each step of that wind down routine, break it down into the teeniest, tiniest actions possible, and that'll be easier to follow. Let's say you want to hit at least 100 grams of protein every day. For that example, your system could be buy frozen cooked chicken breast to make meals easier, so that you don't have to cook it from scratch. Um, so that way you don't have to meal prep. You don't have to put in too much effort into meal prepping or meal planning. You just buy the already cooked chicken breast and heat it up. Or your system could be to drink a 30-gram protein shake every day to hit that 100 grams of protein. Let's say you want to walk more. You want to walk for 30 minutes, 3 days out of the month out of the week for the next month. Uh, your system could be put on workout clothes and walking shoes as soon as I get home from work. Now, notice I didn't say go on a walk after work, because going on a walk, that's still a pretty big task. Our brain thinks of that task as, pretty daunting, especially after we just got home from work, we're pretty tired. But if we can tell ourselves, our system is just put on your workout clothes, just put on your walking shoes, that will get you into the momentum to get you out the door and go on that walk. So, the reason I'm pushing systems so much is that a lot of times when we set goals, even if it's a very well written SMART goal, but we don't set up a system to a plan to achieve that goal, it often fails. Okay, and this is why. Some of the reasons on the next few slides, I'll show you a few reasons why goals without systems fail. One is that goals rely on motivation. Let's say you set a goal to work out 3 days a week, but you just don't feel like working out that day. You don't have any motivation that day, and you don't have a system in place. Well, you're just not going to work out that day then. But if you have a system in place, the systems are the structures you put in place and you do it regardless of motivation. So let's say you scheduled a Pilates class already and you know they're going to charge you if you cancel last minute. So that could be your system in making you go do a workout regardless of your motivation. Now, that only works if you're someone who cares about them charging you, right? If you don't care about the charge, then that system is not going to work for you. Find something that works for you. Another reason why goals without systems fail is that oftentimes reaching that goal is only a momentary achievement. Yay, I finished my 30-day diet. Yay, like let's celebrate. Like I did really well. Okay, now what? Right? Goes right back to old habits. That's what I see a lot of times. But systems are those everyday actions that keep you on track long term. Systems help you develop healthy habits that eventually, as you keep doing them and doing them, they're eventually going to require very little effort to maintain. And that's what a habit is. Systems help you set up habits. And this is the last reason I'll give why goals without systems often fail is that goals tend to be short term, especially with our health, nutrition, and fitness goals. They are usually something like if I can just stick to this diet for 30 days, or if I can just do this for this many days, they tend to be short term. So now a systems approach supports this long-term lifestyle change because with the systems approach, you're basically accepting the fact that this is simply how I will live my life from now on. And the sooner you accept that that's a lifestyle change, this isn't just a 30-day diet, it's a permanent lifestyle change. The sooner you accept that fact, the easier it is to reach those goals. So I've broken down for you how to set up systems for success, and I've broken down each step with examples, and we'll go through this. So step one, like I said, is to write your SMART goal. So go back to if you're watching this later, go back to that slide about how to write a SMART goal. It has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Write that SMART goal first. And then I want you to take that SMART goal and break it down into smaller steps, as tiny of a step as you can. Brenda mentioned earlier with her drinking water, you break it down into like different parts of your day, right? So that's kind of what I did here with this example. If you're trying to drink 2 liters of water every day, maybe break your day into two parts. And the first half of the day, you try to drink a liter. The second half of the day, you try to drink the other liter. You can break it down however makes sense to you, but try to break it down into the smallest possible steps. Step three is to identify how you can modify your current actions to support this goal. So take a look at what you're currently doing and see what little tweaks you can make. Let's say you're trying to reach that water goal and you're someone who you're doing pretty well drinking your water from maybe you have like a 1 liter bottle, right? So you need to refill it, but maybe there's not always a refilling station near you. So the reason you don't drink the 2 liters is because you don't have any means to refill it. Well, that's an easy problem to solve, right? Just get a 2 liter water bottle or bring more water bottles with you, brainstorm some solutions. Uh, so see what tiny tweaks you can make to get you to drink that water. And then step four is probably the most important step, is to regularly assess and refine your systems. Systems, like I said, are unique to you. What works for other people might not work for you. It is so rare to find a plan, a system that works for you on the first try. So you need to always be reassessing and refining and seeing how you can tweak these strategies to what works for you. So and back to the water bottle example, maybe you keep forgetting your water bottle at work. So maybe set an alarm to remind you to take that water bottle home. Okay, so it's these tiny tweaks that will set you up for success. All right, so before I leave you, I want to give you a few more tips for success. And these are tips that are straight from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Many of you have probably read that book. It's a very popular book talking about habit change and habit behavior science. And what I've done is taken the principles from that book and applied it to your nutrition and physical activity. So tip number one is habit stacking and habit bundling. This is you are when you are trying to develop a new habit, you can stack it on top of a habit that you already do. So let's say you already eat breakfast and your new habit is trying to remember to take your vitamins. You can say, after eating breakfast, I will immediately take my vitamins. So you're associating a new habit with the habit that you already do. Maybe you're trying to incorporate a walk after dinner. So you can say, after dinner, I will take a short 5-minute walk. You're trying to build a new habit by attaching it to a already established habit. Uh, let's say you're a parent and you want to get more activity in after dropping off the kids. You can say, after dropping off the kids, I will drive to the gym. Okay. So dropping off the kids is something you already do. Now the new habit is to drive to the gym. Now notice I said drive to the gym, not go to the gym. Just the simple action of saying I will just drive myself to the gym, that's that's what I'm talking about when I say break it down into the smallest possible step that you can break it down into. Because just driving to the gym, that's going to get you that momentum you need to keep going and go to the gym. So, tip number two is to modify your environment. A lot of us take for granted how much our environment plays a role in our behaviors. It really has a profound impact on what we do. So, let's say you're trying to drink more water, back to that water example, right? Um, let's say uh, you let's say you put a glass of water next to your nightstand to drink when you wake up. The fact that the glass of water is already there on your nightstand when you wake up makes it a lot more likely that you're going to drink that water right when you wake up. Okay, so take advantage of your environment and see how you can set up your environment for success. A lot of parents and that I work with often come to me and say, well, sometimes, in the pantry when I'm trying to pick a snack, I'm often tempted um, by my kids' snacks, and I want to eat those snacks. Well, this is another example of how you can modify your environment to your advantage. Is if you find yourself tempted by your kids' snacks and you don't ever eat your own snacks, um, maybe your kids' snacks are less conducive to your weight loss goal than the snacks that you buy for yourself. Well, put the kids' snacks in their own designated bins in the pantry. Put it in a place in the pantry where it's less accessible to you, and put your own snacks that are more conducive to your weight loss goal in a place where it's more visible to you. Okay, same thing with like putting fruits on the counter, same concept, modifying your environment. Now, the next tip is the 2-minute rule. This also goes back to breaking down that system into the smallest steps possible. Break it down into something you can do in 2 minutes. So let's say I will spend 2 minutes to brainstorm two meal ideas. Yeah, if you're just spending 2 minutes to brainstorm ideas for your meals, it's probably not going to get you to writing out a meal plan in those 2 minutes. But spending that 2 minutes to brainstorm will get you on that momentum to write that meal plan and then eventually write that grocery list and go do all that to get your groceries and go meal prep. Uh, so this is about setting up the momentum, that 2-minute rule. Let's say you're trying to run more, and you can tell yourself, I will just run for 2 minutes, and actually allow yourself to stop after 2 minutes. If you're running outside, run for 2 minutes. Allow yourself to go home if you want to. If you're running on the treadmill, run for 2 minutes and allow yourself to stop that treadmill if you want to. And then eventually you keep doing that over and over again every day. You'll be like, why am I just out here running for 2 minutes? Might as well, I already got my running gear on. I'm already outside. I'm already on the treadmill. Might as well run for the 20, 30 minutes that I originally planned. But you got yourself there because you told yourself, I'll just run for 2 minutes. So you set up that momentum. Same
And I
thing
got
with,
a question. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna finish up the examples here, but go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of people commenting on, I had asked the question in the chat box about what people, when maybe what they'd love to set up a system for. And there's a lot of comments coming in. Um, I'd be curious, like if you're working with someone, because I know you do coach people individually and in groups, if you were working with someone, what would you say? What would be your first steps for setting up a system for, let's say, somebody with limited mobility that's wanting to get more exercise, or somebody that's wanting to get more exercise? Let's just use one example out of all of these.
Yeah. Uh, so someone wanting to get more exercise, how would I approach that on a one-on-one session? Is that your question?
Yeah, basically, and like, what would be your first steps and it can apply to anything. Like, what would be for somebody who doesn't know what SMART goals are? Obviously, um, they could look that up, but what would you say would be your first steps, like to determine what your next steps are to set up these habit stacking or modifying your environment or the 2-minute rule? Like, what would you have them be their next steps to be able to set up
Yeah.
something for themselves?
That's a great question. I like that you say set up something for themselves because when I work with one-on-one with clients, I'm not just giving them, here, you need to do this. Excuse me. I'm not just giving them a prescription. Here, you need to exercise 30 minutes. 5 days a week, because that's what the guidelines are, and those are the actual guidelines is 150 minutes a week. So I'm not just giving people guidelines and telling them here, follow it. I'm working with them, and it's more of a question and answer, more of a collaborative type of work if I'm one-on-one with somebody, and I'll guide them with questions like, okay, so why do you want to what makes you want to exercise more and maybe dig a little bit deeper? Oh, my joints are hurting me, and I noticed that if I do some exercise, it helps my joints or helps my back. Okay, so what, you know, what do you have time to do? Maybe after work. This is them telling me maybe I can do some after work or before work. So I kind of get them um, to come up with it on their own, but I'm just here to guide them with some questions, to 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 get them to make that SMART goal without actually sitting down. Okay, a SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. I'm just asking these questions. Eventually, once these questions are answered, we have a SMART goal at the end of that conversation, and it's a very specific, measurable, all that, and then we set up the systems. And I don't use all these technical terms like systems in my sessions. We talk about it more of like as a conversation, but that is essentially what I'm doing. I'm getting them to maybe use habit stacking or habit bundling. What's something you already do, and then how can we attach the new thing to what you're already doing, or modify, how can we modify your environment to help you reach this goal, or what's the teeniest, tiniest 2 minute thing, 2 minute action that you can take to help you reach this goal. Um, I'm very big about client autonomy and having their input on everything, because at the end of the day, the client knows themselves the best. I don't know them, you know, I don't spend every second with them. I'm just on the call with them for an hour. Um, but it's very important that they're the ones coming up with their goals and their systems. So, last two tips I will thank you for that question, Brenda. Last two tips I will give, and then I will turn it loose and let you write your own SMART goals and break it down into systems. Um, but these tips are reframing your negatives into positives. And here's what I mean by this. So, a negative, I'm not talking negative and positive, I'm not talking about good or bad. As an example, I like to use this example. Instead of cutting out something, so let's say instead of cutting out soda, let's frame it as drink more water. So cutting out soda is a negative because we're taking something away, we're removing something. Now, the drinking more water part, that's a positive because we're focusing on doing something. Okay, so that's what I mean by negatives and positives. Another example is instead of stop overeating, frame it as I want to start paying attention to my hunger fullness cues. Okay, so stop overeating, that's something that is a negative because we're focusing on not doing something. But framing it as I want to start paying attention to my hunger fullness cues, that's a positive because we're starting to do something. So this is a way to kind of like trick your all of these are ways to trick your brain into getting you to do what you need to do. The last tip I'll give you is identifying and removing barriers. So this is going to take a lot of self-awareness to identify what your barriers are and then removing those. And this is where I can come in as well, where we problem solve and strategize about how we can remove some of these barriers. So for example, you recognize that you don't eat veggies because maybe they go bad quickly. So a solution could be let's just buy frozen or canned veggies, which are just as nutritious as the fresh veggies. So that's all the tips I have for you. And again, these are tips straight from Atomic Habits, the book by James Clear, and I've just applied these to nutrition and health for you. So your turn. After this call, sometime tonight or tomorrow, I want you to write down what your goal is, your SMART goal. Break that goal into small steps. Identify how you can modify your current actions to support this goal. This is where you set up your systems. And then lastly, regularly assess and refine those systems because you're not going to find what works for you on the first try. So, thank you so much for being on this call today. I hope you've learned something new. Again, my name is Jane Guo. I'm a registered dietitian. I help people lose weight for good. And my practice is called Habits Nutrition Counseling. You can visit my website here or scan this QR code. I do work with people in Texas and in Georgia, and I accept Aetna and United Healthcare. And now I want to give you some time to ask me some questions. The questions you've been asking me are really good, Brenda. Keep them coming.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. And I'm gonna be showing you guys Jane's website and more of her information here just shortly. And before we kind of jump into that, I think just taking some questions from people. What I would like to say is we had a lot of people mentioning what maybe what a challenge was for them as far as a habit of some sort, and maybe taking a couple more of those of maybe what somebody is wanting to try to set up a system for, and maybe having you help them with maybe giving them some ideas. And I think part of it is like you mentioned, you know, first of all, you knowing the underlying reason for doing this, because obviously guys, if you don't have a reason that's going to be getting you out of bed to go exercise in the morning, it's like why would you even want to go there? Set up some type of system. So whether it's drinking water, maybe it's that you want to try to be more hydrated, maybe you feel like that'll help your appetite control. Maybe it's going to help your skin, you know, whether it's protein, making sure, like for me, with working out, I want to make sure that I'm getting enough protein in, because heck, I want to make sure and build my muscles. I want them to feel, I want to feel like I'm getting more tone. And in order to do that and see the results, having that extra nutrition in, also being able to set my weight loss overall goals and keep maintenance in that. So yeah, I'd like to be able to take a few examples. I'm going to kind of go back just a little bit because there was a lot of comments up here, and maybe take a couple of those. You guys can keep commenting though. Please feel free to do that. Let's see. We have some people who are talking. I mean, some of this is, I'm going to say, exercise based. Somebody says that they like doing Tai Chi. Another person says water aerobics because they have arthritis. Another person says YouTube videos. So they're bringing up suggestions of things they can do. What would be a good system for setting up, adding physical activity into your everyday activities? Like, what would you suggest for that?
I love answering this question. Um, so I have a little I have a tip called setting up a movement menu. Okay, so what this is you're gonna write out in your notes app or you know write somewhere um, a list of activities that you enjoy doing. The key word is activities that you enjoy doing. Okay, if you don't like going to the gym, don't put that on your list. Now, this can be any activity that gets your body moving. It could be walking, it could be playing pickleball, it could be water aerobics, it could be stretching. And you're gonna put this on a list and then also order that list from like easier activities to harder activities, make different categories for like low, moderate, high intensity activities. And then every day you're going to go on that list. Yes, I mean every day. You're going to go on that list and you're going to pick something from that menu. You're going to order off of that movement menu. And you don't have to pick a high strenuous activity every day. Some days you're going to pick a high energy activity, moderate energy activity, low energy activity. You're just going to switch it up depending on how you're feeling that day. So that's my biggest tip for, incorporating movement into your day. And I do recommend movement every day. I don't mean exercise every day. You don't have to go all out and exercise every day, but movement, even like stretching, some walking, we need movement every day. So that's how you can incorporate that is with the movement menu.
Wonderful. I see Elizabeth says she follows at Senior Shape Fitness on YouTube for great limited mobility. Jessica says she likes the dance game on her Wii console, which is fun. It doesn't feel like exercising. I actually have found a couple apps. One of them is called FitMe, FITME. It's free. It does have a paid version. Um, I also like using the app on my phone. If you have a smartphone, many of you probably count your steps. And to me, that kind of gives you a motivation to get so many steps in a day, like you're kind of setting a pace for yourself or, your smartwatches and things like that. Elizabeth says, I also have a Quest VR game device for workouts. Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's so
those
many
are
different ideas.
Yeah, those are awesome. And I really the key to getting more movement in is finding movement that you enjoy. So if it's the Quest VR, if it's water aerobics, if it's chair yoga, any something that you enjoy that is going to make you excited to go to do it, that's really the key to sticking with your movement goals.
And this is a great point. Mary Jane says, and I don't beat myself up if I don't make my step goal. It's about doing something. Some days it can be hard. I can remember being for myself, and I don't know if anybody else has done this, but being in an all or nothing kind of mindset where like you start out the day and you think or the week and you say, okay, your SMART goals may be to exercise 3 days, let's say 5 days a week. Like you start out with this goal of almost every day being out there doing some kind of fitness. You start your week and maybe the first week you do 5 days. The next week, your motivation goes down a little bit, and maybe your ankle is kind of bothering you and you're tired. And so you do maybe one day, like your motivation drops completely. And then all at once, you kind of think, well, maybe I can do this again. The week 3, you do 2 days. Okay. The thing is we forget that it doesn't have to be that all or nothing. You're doing something and like giving yourself some credit for kind of continuously going back and having consistency. My thing is you were talking about reevaluating, Jane. So at the end of, I think it's almost important at the end of each day or whether you make it at the end of the week, like what things are working, like how those systems, what things are working. Okay, putting my shoes out and my clothes out at night. So in the morning time, I can just jump into them. That makes it easy. Making the coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, having a little bit of coffee before you go take a walk in the morning, having that coffee pot already made and set. Having taking your shower at night so you don't have to take a shower in the morning before you go. Just seeing what is the what is holding you back from doing things. If it's like actually getting to the gym, maybe it's having an accountability partner. So like looking at like reassessing each day and noticing what is holding you back and what is holding you back from meeting your highest potential, and then developing like little systems in there to try to overcome those. Because I think it's so easy for us to set these goals and then all at once, like let's say exercising 5 days a week. Well, is that easy enough to fit into your schedule? Are you going to be able to do that 5 days a week? Or like what times of the day are easiest for you? I know for me, it's in the morning times. So anything to say about that, Jane?
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point about, what is realistic, and that's the R in SMART goals. What is realistic? Or is that the R in SMART goals? Relevant. No, that's the A in SMART goals. SMART. No, I'm forgetting. But the A stands for achievable. So that's kind of the realistic aspect of it. You want to make your goals achievable for you. What's achievable for you might not be achievable for another person and vice versa. So I think you bring up a good point as well with the all or nothing mentality. That's a mentality I come across a lot with my clients, and we work to get out of that mindset, and sometimes it can be hard to get out of that because we're so stuck in this diet culture mentality that is like, you have to follow these steps and follow this diet and follow this meal plan, and don't mess up. It's just 30 days. That's why I don't love the the short term like goals for um for a lot of our nutrition and health goals is, follow this diet for 30 days, because then after that, what's next, right? So having this systems approach kind of can take you out of that all or nothing mentality, and that's why it's so helpful.
I love that. I'm going to kind of see here. We have Elizabeth says, remove the friction so you make it easier to achieve. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So it's never really about failure. Like it's about like looking and seeing, okay, that's working, that's not working. Because if you get stuck in the failure, guys, you're never going to move forward. You're always just going to think, okay, I can't do it. I can't do it. But like seeing what's not working and what is working and do more of what is working. Wendy says, chair dancing sounds like fun. Do you have a YouTube video you follow or just listen to music? So asking the group of what they think about that.
I love everyone's engagement in this chat. I wasn't able to check the chat as I was talking, but I'm reading through some of your comments now. Um, Mary Jane says, I do that 5-minute walk after dinner. That's something I really want everybody to do as you're able. If you're able to do a walk after dinner, it really helps with your blood sugar control. Walking after dinner helps bring that blood sugar down after you've just eaten that meal. Um, and it's great for just staying active.
Yeah, there's so much free stuff out there, like with YouTube videos and things like that, fitting it into your schedule, it makes it super easy to be able to implement those things. I'd love to kind of go into, so I'm gonna is it okay, Dane, if I share my screen? I'm gonna share them with
Yeah.
them some additional resources for them. And I'm gonna hop onto your website so that they can see what that looks like. And tell us how you work with people and what services you offer if they're interested in doing so. Let's see, here we go.
Uh, Nothing is okay, there we go. All right. So, I think I said it all earlier, but I help people lose weight, but we don't just focus on, it's not just meal plans and food lists, although if you want meal plans and food lists, I will give you that. But we also work on mindset. We also work on habit change. We also talk about the emotions that you feel around food, your relationship with food. So we go pretty in depth um, about anything having to do with food, and I'm here as your your guide, your professional guide, and helping you navigate different food scenarios. What do I do for breakfast? What do I do for lunch? What do I do for dinner? What do I do if I'm on a cruise? What do I do for food on a vacation, on a holiday, at Christmas dinner? We talk about all those different conversations. Um, and yeah,
So
so
Jane, when
do
they
you
get to your website, where would they go to be able to see how they could, like, if, say if they're a bariatric patient or diabetic, I'm sure both of those can fit together too, or on GLP-1s.
absolutely. Yeah.
They can navigate to those, or they can go at here on this contact.
Yeah, you can go to contact if you want to reach out to me. My email is on there. That's the best way to contact me. If you are like, okay, I don't need any more information. I'm ready to sign up right now. If you scroll down a little bit, I think there's a place to sign up. If you just click on Get Started under New Clients, you can sign up today. That'll take you to a form, I think. Yep. So just fill out this form to apply to work with me. I do require people to apply because I would like to see that you're motivated, you're self-motivated, and that you actually want to be here. Because that's who is going to have the most success working with a dietitian. If you're not as motivated right now, maybe you got a few other things that you're prioritizing over your health, then this would not be the best time to see a dietitian. I would wait until you're actually, wanting to work on your health because that's when you're going to see the most success. So fill out your information, write a little bit about why you want to see a dietitian. We'll maybe hop on a discovery call, and then we'll get you scheduled to see me. And I take insurance, Aetna and United. So if you have those insurances, you're welcome to use those. Otherwise, it'll be self-pay.
Okay. I also want to pop onto your dietitian-led bariatric support group on Facebook. And that is a group where they can um, basically just get a little bit of what you offered today, like just a little bit of insights and a little bit of fun, where they can connect with you and other people within your support group. You want to talk about that for a second too?
Yeah, so I started this group because I have been on a lot of those bariatric support groups and have seen so many nasty comments, so many judgy people, and then also a lot of spam in those groups where people are posting, this is a link to my recipe or this is a link to my cookbook, and it's just people trying to sell you their cookbook. So I was like, I want to make a space where people with after bariatric surgery or before they're getting their bariatric surgery, where people can feel safe to ask questions without being called, oh, without other people responding, oh, didn't your doctor tell you this? You should know this. Or why are you asking that question? Like I wanted to create this safe space, um, free of spam, free of judgment for people just like you to join where you can ask questions. I answer a lot of those questions, especially if they're questions that are more clinical questions, because I do work with um, bariatric population with bariatric clinics from pre-surgery all the way after surgery, years and years after surgery, so I'm able to help you navigate some of that. Now I'm not going to give you, I won't be able to give you like one-on-one specific answers because to do that I would need to really have a session with you, but I try my best to answer some of those questions on the Facebook group.
There is another question coming in. Somebody says, "Do you use any tough love strategies? I need that at times."
Yes, sometimes if it's appropriate. I have come across those TikToks TikTok pages and Instagram profiles where all they give is tough love, and I think that is just mean if that's all I'm giving to my clients on my one-on-one sessions. I don't do that all the time, but if I feel like you need that, I will sit you down and be like, "Okay, listen, we've been working together for how long now? And I haven't seen change." I will give it to you straight up.
Well, it's always nice to have but it's always good to have feedback in a way that's supportive and healthy and helpful, and so in those ways, that's good to know. So, okay. Also, Letitia has a great suggestion. She said we have a treadmill at work in our gym. I could hop on there after lunch for 5 minutes. I found that that's a
Absolutely.
great idea. Like the hospital that I worked at before had a gymnasium in it. At a it had actually it had a health spa, and I would go up on my lunch sometimes, which it was just a few steps away, and I could do a few minutes. Guys, it's not about having to do 30 minutes at a time either. Like if you have 10 minutes before work, if you have 10 minutes at lunch, and if you have 10 minutes after, if you're having a hard time scheduling, like with your balancing everything with your children, your family, and everything else, like finding what works for you is a great way to do it. Um,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna actually share a little bit about our sponsor, Jane, too, if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So you guys, our sponsor is ProCare Health, which many of you have likely heard about before. I'm gonna pop onto that website. It's www.procarenow.com. I'll copy that and put it in the chat box here in a second. When you get to the ProCare Health website, you're gonna see a big banner. If you've never tried ProCare before, we do offer free samples. We have a little free sample button right here at the very top, and you click on that and you can get a free sample. What ProCare is mainly known for is being it was the first company to create the first one-a-day multivitamin. Now there's other companies that have followed. We do have some of the lowest cost vitamins out there on the market. You can compare with almost anything. Some of them were like almost 50% cheaper. We do have like a multivitamin that is $11.99 a month on a subscription. That's a one a day. We also came out with this month a couple new products, which I just want to kind of highlight. If I kind of go through, we came out just yesterday with the Metabolic G3A, which is a GLP-1 companion, or an alternative to have, like, if you aren't able to take the GLP-1s, maybe they cause you to be nauseated or sick to your stomach, or maybe you can't afford them, your insurance does not cover them. We do recommend, usually with these things, it's more of a ease into it, take it for a period of time to see like the results, and usually about a 2-month period would be suggested. So that's why we're doing this buy two, get one free with code MG3A. Shopping now, we have, uh, whoops, I had it pulled up here. I have all of them pulled up, all of the things on our little, our bar. But it does have some really special features. They really worked hard on getting you the components in there that are going to give you the biggest bang for your health. So one of those things that most of these new medications that are oral, when they came out, they do not have a probiotic. This does have a probiotic in it. It also helps support your blood sugar levels and help reduce cravings and appetite suppression. So that is our one of our newest things. We also just came out with a peaches and cream calcium soft chew, which is amazing. I had our team send me a bag so I could try it out. It tastes to me like you're actually eating a peach. So if you do like peaches, it's a great little new thing to try to get your calcium. It has 500 milligrams of calcium, 500 IU of vitamin D. It's all natural, so it has no artificial sweeteners, sugar, alcohols, or additives, and it's super creamy. It's not gritty because our products use something called True Cow, which is a product that takes milk products and then refines them down into the milk minerals, and it has very little lactose, like 0.01%. So if you are lactose intolerant, it works well. I'm lactose intolerant and I can take it without any problem. We also came out with this DS80 new product, which is a revision of our old DS80. There's not many products out there that are for those patients that have had the duodenal switch. So this is a brand new one for that. And if you need extra ADEK, which are fat soluble vitamins, you can take this little plus along with it, or you can take it separately. I take it separately just to make sure I'm getting those in with the GLP-1 I'm on. I want to make sure that I have that as an add-on just to have those extra fat soluble vitamins. So that is about ProCare in a nutshell with some of the new things coming in. I also want to just mention if you're wanting to know more about these episodes that we're doing, you can go over to the tab on the ProCare website it's called Body and Soul Resources. Berry Connected is under that. And we list on our Berry Connected page all of, let me go to that. I thought I had it pulled up, but I'm just gonna jump on since I have so many bullet points pulled up. We list all of our events. Now, Jane's event today, guys, sometimes I like to go back and listen because a lot of times there's things that maybe you don't catch with the very first time you watch it. So you can go back and watch this episode. Her event is under our support groups. And so you just click the register now, or if you've already registered on that, you can actually just use the same link and it'll go to the on-demand video. It takes like just a few minutes after the video has been featured to process, and that'll be available shortly thereafter this event actually occurs. But we do have other ones that have already occurred this month on replay. We have Balanced Eating for Sustained Weight Loss with Jen Clayton, Just Be You, Building Strength Through Community Events with our sleeve podcasters, Mel and Kelly. We talked about the upcoming event, the Just Be You Awards, and then also Your Path to Sustainable Weight Loss and Health Insights from our Wellness Warriors panel, Meg, Stephanie, Maria, and Shay. That's going to be next week. So lots of great things coming up. I will add, you guys are going to be the first person to know about this. We are going to be trying to do our event starting in May as almost all support groups. So if you're attending this for attendance purposes, for your insurance, or for your program, we actually send attendance to about 75 different facilities. And some of those facilities do that specifically for that purpose of helping their patients, be able to get attendance for their insurance or for surgery. And so we do that. You're always welcome to reach out to me. My email is my last name, Hain, Hoehn, my first initial B at procarenow.com. I can put that in the comment section. It'll be in our details of this event if you're listening to a replay. We have all of our events listed on our YouTube channel. And then we also have a podcast called Berry Connected. So if you listen to major podcast, you can log on to those, whether it's Spotify, Apple Radio, whichever. All of our episodes are usually listed about a week post the event. Our YouTube channel, I do have pulled up. We now have over 500 videos on there. Jane's will be on there next Tuesday. But if you're wanting a specific topic, all you have to do is go to this little subscribe. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel because you get notifications when new events are listed. And then we have new events posting. Jane's event will be posting on there next Tuesday. So you can always use the search button and type in Jane, or you can type in a special topic, for example, hair loss, or I'm just thinking some different things, holidays, for example, because I see one of our holiday ones popping up here. But we have lots of great little tidbits on different topics and things like that. So we also have playlists on there. You can go and look under playlist, which has recipes and exercises and all different kinds of things. So I've given you guys so much information here. I'm going to stop sharing. I also want to say Jane is an affiliate of ProCare. So you can actually save by using her code, which is habits 10, the number 10. So habits 10, I'll paste that into the chat box here. Oh, Jane pasted it too. I didn't see that you did that. So you can use her code. I'm gonna go over to our ProCare Facebook page and post that as well. We do have, like Jane, we also have a support page as well, support group page. It's called Very Connected. Very Connect is our page and Very Connected is our group. So, go out there, guys, join her group, join our group and continue to stay in the loop. I feel like to me, that's been one of the biggest ways to stay successful long term. I'm 13 years post-op, and I know that being in these groups and being a part of this to me has made such a big difference in staying 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 connected, staying connected because like where your mind goes and where your focus is so important on your journey. So if you're continuously thinking about feeling supported, feeling like you're doing the things to stay on your journey, that's where your body's helping guide you. Jane, would you say anything about that? Because I know you probably do a lot of these kind of support type of things for patients.
Yeah, I would say accountability and support, it goes a long way when you, I mean, I work with a lot of different populations, not just bariatrics, but I find that in the bariatrics population, the they that group tends to do better with support and community and accountability. Definitely.
And so, yeah, stay connected, guys. Jane, what is your closing thoughts? Give them your takeaways for today.
Well, I want to thank everyone for being here. Um, I am definitely thankful for this opportunity to share with you guys about building habits, and I hope that every every health goal you make from now on, it doesn't have to be your New Year's resolution. Don't wait until 2026 to make your health goals. Whenever you make your next health goal, think about what systems you're going to put in place, what plan, what strategy you're going to put in place to make that goal a reality. So that's what I'll leave you with today.
And I just want to reinforce that. Earlier, you mentioned something, one of your closing slides was to set up a SMART goal for yourself and start the process. Guys, no matter where you are, there's always one thing that you can do to move forward. If you're feeling stuck in your journey, because I think sometimes it's kind of scary. We have these fears that come up of maybe weight regain or um, of going back to wherever we were. Like, think about what is most important to you and start right now. Like, think about what is the most important thing to you. And whether it's getting your protein in, getting your water in, doing some physical activity, what is the most important thing to you? What is your reason for doing it? And then set up a couple small systems tonight, like write them down and make yourself accountable. Like see how and make them something that you can do starting today, right now in this moment, and make this be, a life-changing moment for you. And I see Jessica's their hand raised. Jessica, if you want, you can comment and let us know what you'd um like to say. She might have just had it up accidentally too. Okay, I'm gonna type my email in. It's my last name, Hain, the at ProCare Now. Oh, it was her accident. So we're all good. Well, I want to thank you, Jane, for your time, your energy, your passion about what you do and sharing it with all this group. You have so much knowledge that you brought, so much good insight on helping us with determining what our next steps might be in our journey. And we appreciate you so much. And everybody, thank you for showing up for yourself. So have a great evening. Take care and enjoy life. Enjoy your evening. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Have a great evening.